Good morning and welcome back to the Good Morning Minute podcast. I'm your host, Angelina Mojica, and I'm excited to kick off season 2 with a theme that touches every single one of us: relationships. That's right, friends. Relationships are at the heart of our human experience. They shape who we are, how we grow, and how we show up in the world. Whether it's family, friends, romantic connections, or even the relationships we have with ourselves, each one carries lessons, challenges, and moments of pure joy. This season, we'll sit down with incredible guests who will share their stories, wisdom, and insights on building, nurturing, and even healing relationships. So grab your coffee, settle in, and let's dive into conversations that inspire connection and growth. Now that we've set the stage for today's conversation on relationships, I'm thrilled to introduce our guest. She brings a unique perspective and a wealth of experience to the table, and I know her insights will leave you feeling inspired and equipped to navigate your own relationships with more intention and understanding. So, without further ado, I'd like to welcome back, no stranger to the Good Morning Minute podcast, Linda Lemos. Linda, I'm so excited you're here again. I want to just peel back the onion with this topic with you. But before we get started, would you go ahead and just reintroduce yourself to our listeners and just give a little bit of why relationships piques your interest?
It's really interesting topic. My name is Linda Love Lemos. I am a book author and speaker, and I thought this topic was very interesting. But I also feel that relationships have gotten messy, and the intentions of why we enter into relationships have strayed away from what it's supposed to be, which really it's supposed to be about love. So today I'm going to honor my nickname, and we're going to talk about love and how you can have the love in your career and your trade of work, and how having that love throughout the day, even in what you do at work, will reflect ultimately in your relationships with your family members as well as your personal relationships.
Awesome. Well, I'm excited to get into this conversation about love. So, when did it hit you? When did it hit you that you just like, oh, that aha moment where it was like, yeah, love is it. Love is the foundation.
I'm glad you have that question, and I love you because you always have those deep questions. But so the question is, I felt that on my first job that I ever had wasn't the most glamorous job. I was a cart pusher for a grocery store, and it was horrible. It was a horrible job. I'm not gonna lie. It's probably
Uh-huh.
one of the worst jobs back in those days. And I'm aging myself, but back in those days, the carts were very difficult. I had to be out in the rain and the snow and the cold, and it was a miserable job, just the weather itself. And it took weeks and weeks and weeks. And then I realized I was torturing myself because the more thoughts I had and the more complaints I gave to myself about how hard my job was at the grocery store, the worse it got. So at 13, I realized I can't do this. Like, I can't do this anymore. I do like working there. So what can I do? And then I realized I have to start changing um, my thoughts on it. Because sometimes all become victims of ourselves. We don't need any outside influence or the world to put us down or give us negative comments. We sometimes do it on ourselves. And that was my aha moment. And I realized I have to start loving what I do, or at least certain aspects. What do I like about, working at the grocery store? And I really liked my coworkers. And then I learned, what else can I do? Maybe I'm just bored doing this same job over and over again. And I was looking around the store, and I realized that the cashiers, their job seemed a little bit easier. And I was like, well, I went to this manager, and I was like, how do I get this job of cashier? She was like, well, you have to take a test. And I was like, that's it? Just take a test? We'll have to study. We give you 2 months to study, and you have to pass and take the test. And that's what I did. I studied, I took the test, and then I became a cashier. And I loved becoming a cashier. And I won lots of awards. They had a contest with regards to being a cashier, like, if you were the fastest cashier, they'd give you $5 or whatever the reward was back then. And from that moment on, I self-taught myself how to love and how to love first and foremost your career and your trade of work. And it's so important because if you're whining and you're complaining all day, guess what happens when you get home? Your poor significant other, your boyfriend, your wife, your kids, right?
Yes,
They,
yes.
you come home, you're so pissed off because you had a really bad customer. What they made you double bag the groceries. I don't know, whatever the case was. And then all of a sudden you take it out on the people you truly do love. So that's why my conversation for today is really about the love you have to feel inside. And you have to start projecting it, not just for yourself, to love yourself, but also for your career and how that transcends to many areas of your life.
Mm. And that's true. I mean, and speaking of people that will come, because I'm in a leadership role where I work full time,
Mhm.
um, that's all I hear is it's depleting of my own energy just to receive the complaints and the things that aren't making them happy and whatnot. And I'm glad that we're having this conversation because I do see how it transcends into the workplace. Because if you're unhappy at home, and
Mhm.
then you're unhappy at work. But it really all starts from a foundation of you and just kind of where you're at in your own self. So, what did that look like for you, like before and then the after?
Oh, a complete difference. When we think about love, our minds usually go to family and friendships and romantic relationships, right?
Mhm.
But I believe that love plays a fundamental role in our work, whether we are entrepreneurs, employees, creatives, or leaders. Love is just something it's not just something that we feel for our family or partners, it's a driving force behind every action we take in our careers.
Mhm. I almost feel, yeah, I think I read this book by, oh gosh, now I can't remember. It's Monty something, but
Mhm.
he was the CEO for Chipotle. And his fundamental is love, just bringing it back to the human aspect of loving your fellow neighbor, basically. And especially when you're in the workplace, because then you start to look at them from a viewpoint of appreciation or just their own vulnerability, right? They're a human being trying to make it out here in the world and they're struggling. So what can we do to help them love who they are and what they're doing? How do we bring that into the workplace? Do you know how did you do it?
Well, first and foremost, let's talk about the love for your craft, for what you do every day.
Mm-hmm.
Whether you're a teacher, doctor, engineer, artist, or business professional, love for your work is a transformative force. Again, so you have to start thinking differently. You have to start thinking of love as a transformative force. It
Mm-hmm.
is love that drives us for excellence, encourages innovation, and inspires perseverance. So,
Mm-hmm.
how many of us, we've all been stuck in that job we freaking hate, but we
Yeah.
actually love it? Maybe we hate it because of the coworkers, or we have that one angry boss that's angry all the time, and it's not even your fault. But you
Mm-hmm.
actually stay at the job because you love what you're doing. So that is what perseverance is about. When you think about the people in your life who love what they do, who get up every morning with a sense of purpose and excitement, what separates them from others? It's not just
Mm-hmm.
a skill or experience, it's their passion. That love that they feel creates a whole other level of engagement that goes beyond those merely fulfilling tasks. We've all seen it. We've all seen the students that come to school and are A students and are excited every day, or they really like history class or whatnot, compared to
Mm-hmm.
the other students that sit in the back, fall asleep, and don't care, right? So again, it's that love. But hey, it's that other student that has that love for that history class. You'll find when you find your love for your task, for your work, you'll find yourself eager to learn more, to share
Mm-hmm.
knowledge, and contribute in ways that go beyond the ordinary. And that's what sets a good work space apart. I've worked 20 years in corporate. I've been a consultant for quite a few years now. I believe over a decade already. I can't believe it's been already a decade. And I've been hired with the task, many CEOs have given me the tasks of sometimes they ask me, what is wrong with this group? What is wrong with this department? Unbeknownst to the managers
Mm-hmm.
that were my managers at the time. They didn't know the CEO had hired me. They didn't know. And I said to them, well, it's their mindset. They're not loving what they're doing. If they come up, if they have a mindset of sabotage or a mindset of getting even or a mindset that has nothing to do with work, your team is going to fail. And that's why I'm also decided to bring this subject to the forefront. Love has to be a powerful motivator. There are times when the road ahead seems difficult, the challenges are insurmountable, but love for your work, your colleagues, your
Mm,
goals keeps you going. It propels you through the toughest day and provides a sense of fulfillment that's far deeper than any paycheck or promotion.
mm,
The
mm,
love you have for what you do creates resilience. It's difficult. In difficult moments, love acts as an anchor. It will give you strength to persevere, to keep striving for your goals, even when obstacles arise. So, again, well, we can go back to the college student that finds college difficult. And I have quite a few mentees that I mentor. And I tell them, just because you see a mountain doesn't mean you can't climb it. Just because
mm,
all of a sudden you're faced with new subjects and some of the work looks difficult, do not give up before you even start the work, before you even start the homework. I think that's what makes people who are successful successful. It's the one that has the love and the ones that persevere. And I say you're going to push through it. And if you have to ask for help, ask for help. You know, it's people always wonder, how do people persevere? How do they have resilience? And the truth of it is love. Think about those moments when you felt down,
mhm,
discouraged, or uncertain about your path. I mean, I think that's all of us,
mhm,
right? We've always had that one moment where, for God's sakes, we were unemployed, we were laid off. But then you remember the passion and the purpose behind your work, you know? Um, I can remember that when I first started as a paralegal, the first couple of offices that I worked at were horrible. They were absolutely horrible. The leadership was horrible. There was a lot of substance abuse within the office.
mhm,
There was a lot of negativity in that office. And really, those two first places were almost like the world trying to discourage me from being a paralegal.
mm,
But I always kept my head up and I said, it's not that I don't like my job. It's that I don't like the people that I'm surrounded by. It's my environment.
mhm,
So sometimes you have to get up from your bootstraps and keep going. And that's what I've done. And I've been 20 years as a paralegal. Do not allow these moments to keep you down or discourage you. You have to remember your passion and what purpose you have behind your work. You know,
mhm.
the love you have for your craft, it's gonna spark and reignite your drive. It is, without a doubt, a major factor that separates, again, who achieves greatness in their careers from those who give up too soon.
Yeah. How do you help your mentees find and ignite their passion? Like what are some of those things that you do?
Oh, that's wonderful. I think first and foremost, I always try to tell them that school is a journey
Mm,
and that they've enlisted and that they have to know that they can't give up.
mhm,
You know, giving up is easy. Everyone can do it. Graduating is hard. Not everyone crosses the finish line. And I always inspire them to believe in something greater than themselves and to understand that their education is for themselves. It
mm,
is a goal, and it's a goal that is established for themselves. It is a promotion for themselves. And what you learn in school will take you to the next level and will teach you about the workplace as well.
mhm,
Many of us, not all of us, can have perfect professors or professors that are easygoing. Many times I've even had a challenging professor where I'm like, I don't know what to do. It seems like I can't get a good grade in this class, you know? But does that mean we give up? No, that means, hey, you might have to reach out to the program manager or your professor's supervisor, the dean or whomever, in order
mhm,
to address what could be done better. So I think that's very important, to teach them to not limit their thoughts of
Mhm.
success and to think of other creative ways to obtain their success. And the most important thing I can always tell people with regards to career and to work and school as well is do no harm.
Mm.
There's different, they always say about, talk about ambition and how ambition is wrong. I think ambition is a great thing. It can
Mhm.
propel individuals forward. It can propel people into careers they never thought they could have. But I
Mhm.
think ambition is healthy as long as you're not doing harm to other individuals.
That's a great piece of advice is do no harm because sometimes you can get caught up in just the goal that you have and get tunnel vision and it's like I don't care, I'm going to get there, I'm going to get to the end. But I think that again, just going back to the component of love and treating people as they are human beings and we're engaging and we're relationshiping with people in this work professional relationship. So I think that's beautiful that you say that do no harm and it's to me, I recall like having a goal for myself and igniting passion in you and just going for it and understanding too that when you do hit those challenges or those mountains and you're looking at them and you're like so overwhelmed because of the magnitude or the size of what's in front of you, it's also just kind of a reminder too to kind of take a pause, just a slight pause and look at it and go, okay, what's the learning in this moment? What am I supposed to learn? How am I supposed to grow? Because challenges in life aren't negative unless you perceive them to be negative. But if we're looking from a place of love, then you're looking at growth. Is that kind of the advice or suggestions you give your mentees?
Yes, absolutely. And I also suggest to them is when you're at work, be there,
Mm-hmm.
create allies, create friends, create work friends, and love for your colleagues and collaborators. We should all have that.
Mm-hmm.
Let's expand the idea of love beyond just the individual. Love in the workplace is not only about the relationship with your tasks, but also about the relationships you build with others, the people you work with day in and out. You work with them, you spend more time with your colleagues, your partners, your clients than you do with your own family. And let me tell you, these colleagues, your partners, your clients that you might have, they are all an essential part of your career. When you love
Mm-hmm.
and respect the people you work with, magic happens. The teams thrive, collaboration becomes more meaningful, and productivity rises. Love in the workplace is the glue that binds teams together. Now, I said love, I didn't say sex, but that'll be a whole other
Boundaries,
conversation.
please, boundaries.
Yes. Now it fosters, because those
Yeah.
office romances do happen, but I'm talking about something else. I'm talking about being cooperative. I'm talking about fostering trust and communication and having mutual respect. When people feel valued, they are motivated to contribute, they share ideas, and they work toward a common goal. So I think that's really important. And to everyone who watches us and listens to us, my coworkers that I had 20 years ago, I still keep in touch with them. I literally just sent I literally just sent a Christmas card to my
Mhm.
my manager. She was my manager when I was a cashier at the supermarket store. So
I
uh
often, it's funny that you talk about that because I often, when I build those relationships, those work relationships, I'm like, okay, you're on the Christmas card list because you learn to collaborate, but it's also building your professional community, your networking community, because you never know where your next opportunity lies when you're doing this, especially, those that are graduating from college and stepping into their career-based profession. You never know where that next opportunity can come from. So, like you said, you build these relationships and you build them out of a trusting relationship where you are collaborating, you're communicating, and you're just, I mean, you're being a professional and you're doing your job and you never know. Then that person may step outside of that company and go start another multi-million-dollar company and say, you know who I want on my team? This
Exactly.
person, because they
Hmm.
understand and they're going to help me build that culture for sure.
Absolutely. A team that loves each other doesn't just work together, they thrive together, they push each other towards excellence. They
Mhm.
create an environment of psychological safety. Hi, corporate folks, psychological safety is
Yes.
possible,
Yes.
and where innovation can flourish and overcome challenges as a united front. And
Hmm.
there's also another power that manifests in your career, which is the love for learning and growth.
Hmm.
But all this can be done, but you have to be a genuine person with a genuine passion for personal development. Because if you're faking it, people can tell.
That's one thing I don't like is being fake. Like I'm gonna tell you how it is and how I feel, with kindness. Like I'm not just gonna be ugly about it, but for sure. And I think in my experiences, what do you do with those people that are just resistant to wanting to like encompass this idea of let's be a thriving team, let's work together, let's do better.
Yes, that's really interesting. I think the best thing that you can do is to still include them,
Hmm.
still communicate to your best ability,
Hmm.
and then, however, do not take any of their personal reaction personally.
Mm.
Because
Hmm.
sometimes they can have reactions, and we do work with a lot of people that have, sadly in this country with substance abuse or might have mental health diseases.
Hmm.
So we also have to keep in mind that everyone has the right to their perception.
Hmm.
And we have a lot of people that are extremely competitive to the point where, it's unhealthy. It's an unhealthy work environment because they are so competitive. But at the end of the day, what matters is um, how you interact with them and how
Hmm.
professionally you can maintain yourself. And it's not easy. It's a challenge. And that's why there's so many classes and there's speakers like myself and so many other speakers that talk about these subjects.
So, Linda, let me ask, Miss Love,
Yeah.
if you if you were to give a piece of advice to your younger self, to the lady that's pushing that cart, going, man, it's cold
This
out here, what would it be?
Oh, oh my God. I'm so glad you asked that question. Keep going, girl, because one day people are gonna call you and they're gonna want you to write a book and they're gonna want you to talk about your experiences. And who knows, maybe you will even make a movie about your life and about those experiences. Those we learn more from the hard experiences than we do from the good. And I really do believe I have a lot of love uh for this country of ours, for America. And we have a good American spirit as well,
Hmm.
and we need to continuously foster that American spirit. And with helping our neighbors, knowing our neighbors, and being part of our community, that is so
Hmm.
incredibly important. We all need to feel that we belong. And I think the best thing you can do is belong to your own town and see what you can do to help in your town, or even if you can go back to your own college or university and be involved even as an alumni and attend their alumni events. That gives you a good feeling and that gives you a feeling of belonging, and it's a positive group. It's not a negative group. I think many people gravitate towards the negative type of groups that are filled with hate, and that's why I think talking about love today and talking about love for what you do is so instrumental to the current environment and political environment that we're all currently in.
Absolutely. I mean, it's just a different lens. Let's
Mhm.
take off the negative glasses and let's put on the positive ones because it definitely does contribute to just your overall well-being and outlook and the relationships that how you treat other people for sure. Looking at it from a different perspective. All right, Linda. I know last time you were on the podcast, you had some stuff coming up. Do you have anything coming up that you'd like to share with our listeners?
Well, oh yes, absolutely. Thank you so much. So I have season 4 of my podcast, which is called Linda Love Talks. I promise you I will have more politicians on the show for this season. Of course, I will have our guest here, Angelina, as a guest for season 4. And I'm working on that third book, which is going to be a memoir. Right now, I don't have a title. It's a working title, so I don't have one yet. We're just going to call it hashtag book 3, and it's a memoir of my life, of my journeys, and it's totally a story of America, a story of the working class, the first generation, and a story of resilience. So I hope to inspire many people in reading it.
Awesome. Well, I can't wait for sure. But you do have two other books that are out. Where can we get those?
Oh, those books can be bought on Amazon, and one book is on social media law should laws regulate social media, and you can buy that book on Amazon. And the other book is titled Would Kentucky Voters Ban Assault Weapons? And
Oh,
you can
wow.
find that book as well on Amazon. They're both academic books, but my third book is going to be very interesting. It's more personal. It's definitely a memoir, and if I could do it, you can do it too.
All right, everyone. That was Linda Love Lemos. Again, not a stranger to Good Morning Minute podcast. I love when she's on here. She has such good energy and insight, and I definitely love learning from her whenever I get the chance for sure. All right, you know what that means out there? It is a wrap. I'm Angelina Mojica, your life coach, sending you much love, much peace, many blessings.